Interestingly, prior to this dream, I had another real-side dream, which was difficult for my personal self to grasp completely, but for the main theme, a definite demonstration along these lines, that of robotization. A dream that would hammer this point for the duration of that entire night, suggesting this was now well underway with the human species and physical vehicles. Then, literally the next day, I had the real side dream I just recounted, and the very next night a final verification. Many times, real side dream themes tend to come in threes, as though to impress the point, and this seems to underline the seriousness of the experience, the necessity to pay attention to whatever is being demonstrated. And so in the third verification experience then, I was in the form of a bird, although walking on two legs, an anthropomorphic bipedal bird, a humanoid body, but a large eagle-like head. I was flying around another shopping mall, getting a lot of attention from the surprised peoples there. A demonstration of my awareness, getting above things, above the physical level, and the personal mass consciousness, literally a demonstration of a state of being and awareness that the birds demonstrate. With the attention I understandably received, I would take the opportunity to share the New You song with everyone I swooped past. Then I would land and seat myself at a table. An individual approached. My real awareness, intent detector, determined this to be an individual of good character. He may well have been a guide. He asks me if I would extend my arm for his examination, and I would do so. On my arm was a slight wound, and this man produced a little technical gadget and held it above the wound. As he did this, it's as though the electromagnetism produced by this device excited nanoparticles in the same way as the 5G has been revealed in laboratories to do the same, to excite the nanoparticles. As a little column, about 5 inches or so in height, of a silvery, pulsating mass emerged from my wound, and would remain there until he deactivated the device, and back into my wound the silver column retreated. This was another demonstration, provided by a real guide, verification number 3, regarding the presence of nanotechnology and how they are activated. by certain electromagnetic frequencies, that when 5G is prevalent the world over, the nanos will be activated, and the robotization of the human vehicles will be so, and how the nanoparticles are indeed present in the bodies. Those that consider nothing beyond themselves, beyond their personal created self-convictions, those with no connection with their real awareness, will very much be locked into their personal vehicles, even more so when this process begins, be locked into a complete control grid where they no longer have the reins of their experience affecting personal vehicle mechanics. But for those with the real connection, who do stand in the nowness of the ears, they always stand in a position, even if in creation, that supersedes it. Awareness and the real self has nothing to do with, or is affected by, that which befalls the personal self, even robotization. Although, if we are in creation, we do have the personal created vehicle to deal with, and if completely controlled and robotized, it will be essential to remain in the new nowness. If we choose to remain in creation beyond this point and be completely objective of the personal self, and the thoughts it will have now will not be those we are deciding to generate. It will be quite the comparison between the state of real awareness and the personal self, as we will have no control over these robotized personal vehicles any longer. Maybe two states so apparent in their differences that it actually affords even better recognition of the ears. For the greater the difference between the real universes and positions in creation, the greater the comparison available. Hence why it's easier to recognize the ears the lower, literally speaking, you are positioned in creation. And in fact, the physical rock bottom level is the best place for learning to recognize the ears from. Although the personal self always must decide to become more aware, to continue with its journey of awareness, and at any moment can change its mind. Regardless of our state of awareness, the personal self always can decide and return to its personal pursuits and thrill seeking. It's possible that if our personal self is very on board with the process of awareness, and then it gets robotized, and its thoughts and wants are dictated to and no longer its own, then the personal self can be programmed to decide differently, to decide to abandon the process of becoming more aware. In essence, we can have our free will stolen and theoretically have our decision to become more aware and recognize the is robbed from us. And to the robotic personal self, it would think these thoughts, these decisions to renege on the journey to the is are its own. It would not be able to tell the difference between the source of the thoughts, be they programmed in or generated by itself. The dark forces would be using the experience creating mechanics of the robotized vehicles to effect exactly what they decree through the cause and effect principle of the simulation. Two options for the new friends as I see it then. The possibility that if one is connected and standing 100% with the is in creation, then they stand with the is beyond cause and effect, and potentially then they would not have to experience what everyone in creation is programmed and deceived into consciously, unconsciously, and subconsciously agreeing with. This robotized human situation. Anything less than 100%, a slight dip in real intent and focus, and you would step back into cause and effect creation and be the effect of it again. But then the real guides will take care of the karma with those they deem sincere in their intent to recognize the is, despite a few hiccups. Maybe a good place to be for a very extreme comparison, but I suggest that the real purpose, that of sharing the new while in creation, would be redundant, and as such there would be no point in being in the creational simulator if all those who haven't already made the real connection are now locked completely into personal mechanical vehicles and with their thoughts, desires, wants no longer their own. There would be no chance that these robotized people would be singing the new you anytime soon. Option number 2 then must be evacuating the simulator, or the physical level at any rate, the level where the vehicle is robotized and programmed from. As the moment mass robotization occurs, staying on the physical level would be pointless, and a transition seems logical. A repositioning, perhaps in higher life levels, as high as recognition allows, that the process of becoming more aware may continue. As I have seen on real side experiences, where the situations on Earth, on the physical level, become such of an unsavoury nature, cataclysms, or in this case, mass robotization, that the new friends transition to escape consequences or effects they don't have to experience anymore, reposition themselves somewhere else, or jump straight into the real universes according to their recognition.
Exciting as always, Kevin. Yes, thank you. That's very, very good. Gives people a heads up. I remember many years ago when we had the Iranian Skypes, warnings were showing up also in their green visions. So if you would write that down, um, let's put that out there, let people know. Thank you. Heck of a day. Yes, thank you, Pierce and Peter and everybody for sharing, stepping up. Yes, it's very important, giving people a warning. And this is going to be our next adventure. We can handle it. It's going to be a heck of a challenge. But yes, you will become more aware through whatever happens. Just pay attention. Get past that personal self.